What is up, my gun people? It is February 2016. I thought I'd make this video showing my one AK I currently own. I've had a pretty extensive history with this AK. Over the years I've owned 3 AKs. This is the only one I have left. I bought this back in 2008, I believe. It's a Romanian WASR imported by Century Arms. You hear some positive and some negatives with this AK. This one, it didn't have any of your typical negative aspects to it, other than the fit and finish wasn't that great, but everything else that you hear negative was fine on it. It did have a larger issue with the headspace being off. Now, the headspace was only slightly off, so it still ran, but it had malfunctions here and there. I didn't know any better. I fired a couple thousand rounds through it. Again, had malfunctions sometimes. After a couple thousand rounds, I got tired of it and had the headspace checked to realize what was actually wrong with it. At that point, I decided to keep it and get it rebarreled, get the headspace and spec. You can see the oversized barrel pin there from that. Since the headspace being fixed, it has 7,000 or 8,000 rounds through it, been 100% completely reliable, has ran great. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with the rear and talk about its current configuration. So with the stock here, just your standard wood AK stock. I refurbished it, sanded it down, stained it with Minwax ebony, put some polyurethane on it. The grip here, Magpul AK grip. I really like that grip over the factory AK grips. Trigger is the G2 trigger. It's actually a pretty good trigger. I haven't really had any desire to upgrade, although I might eventually put an ALG in it. The magazine, usually running the steel Comblock mags. I do have a few polymer mags, but I prefer steel. Handguard, again, just refurbished factory AK handguard. I use the same stain on the handguard and the stock. You can see the handguard turned out a little bit lighter, has more of a brown tint. Muzzle device is a Midwest Industries. Not sure on the model, but it doesn't really do much to help with recoil or muzzle rise, but it does work pretty good as a flash hider. And the sling, I forgot the brand of the sling, but just a simple 2-point sling. I've had it for many years. I don't even know what brand it is. One thing I have done to this AK was some internal work to smooth out the action, so what I'll do is put it on the bench and show you what I did inside. Alright, so internally I've done a few things to the AK to smooth out the action, so I'll go ahead and show you what all those things are. For the bolt carrier group, this doesn't do anything to smooth out the action, but I did polish it. The action on the WASR AKs and a lot of other AKs, it's a little bit gritty. There's some burrs along the rails, and the hammer actually has some edges on it, so when the bolt carrier rides along it, you feel a little bit of a hang up. So for the hammer here, what I've done is reprofile it. I took the edges off, I rounded them, and I polished it. That really helped. The rails, I took the burrs out here on the top rails, put a slight polish on it. Same thing with the bottom rails here. Took the burrs out and put a slight polish on it. So that itself made the action a lot smoother. Very smooth action on this AK. I'm very pleased with it. I've had a chance to shoot a lot of AKs, some really high-end ones, and I've owned another WASR, and I owned a Arsenal SGL, And with the work I've done here to smooth out the action on this washer, it actually has a better feeling action than my Arsenal even had. So that's pretty much what I've done internally here. By the way, I'm drinking a Sam Adams Cold Snap here, one of my favorite winter seasonal beers. Actually, it's a, I don't know if it's a winter or spring beer, but kind of in between. There you have it. That's my WASR AK47. If you have a WASR that you really like, go ahead and post a link to your video or just tell me about it in the comments. Have a good one.